There is one type of scene that keeps our hearts racing like no other. Each cut corresponds with a harder pound of the chest and pulls us out of our chairs, inch by inch. The more it builds, the more we climb forward. It is the ultimate tool of tension. It is the culmination of crisis. This is the crosscut. Cross-cutting has a large presence in Hollywood, especially in the past 25 years, and we'll get to the best of the best, the tensest of the tense. But first, a breakdown, because it's important to understand crosscuts were not invented for intensity. This is a telephone call. If you've never seen one in movies, you don't watch movies. Here we're watching the crosscut in its simplest form, but still a form. Now, is Entourage the best example of a crosscut? Of course not. But it does help establish this technique's foundations. At its simplest, the crosscut is used for two purposes. It establishes location and it reveals status. In this example from Entourage, we see a pretty simple interaction between Ari and Eric. This just may seem like a basic form of editing between characters, but what the crosscut allows for is the introduction of leverage into the scene. There's Ari, who rushes around his house frantically in preparation for a long day of work even though it's already started, and there's Eric, who cruises around relaxingly in the sweetest of rides in Aston Martin. With the crosscut, the audience is presented with both sides of the coin and then decides which one is on top. That is the crosscut at its simplest, but at its best, it is used for much darker, dire situations. Here is a classic example from The Silence of the Lambs. The beauty of this sequence comes in its surprise factor. For the majority of the scene, the audience is left out of the loop in regards to the fact that it even is a crosscut.
So powerful. So pure.
To the viewer, the FBI is breaking into Buffalo's house. They've succeeded, and this is the moment of payoff.
Precious? Precious?
Down here, you sack of shit!
Our expectations build along with the sequence.
Put her in that bucket.
No, you give me a telephone and lower it down here now!
You foolish, Precious. Darling heart, are you all right?
She's in a lot of pain, mister. She needs a vet. She broke her leg on the way down. I know it. She's been licking it.
Hey, don't you hurt my dog!
Don't you make me hurt your dog!
Hey, you don't know what pain is!
This is it. Buffalo Bill is done for.
I'm gonna do it, mister!
Clarice and the FBI have won. They got their man.
We're going in.
And then the reveal.
Good afternoon. Sorry to bother you. I'm looking for Mrs. Lippman's family.
No, Lippmans don't live here anymore.
Excuse me, sir. I really need to speak with you.
What's the problem, officer?
Well, I'm investigating the death of Frederica Bimmel.
There's no one here, Jack.
This sequence blew audience members away. It was sorcery to moviegoers in 1991 to see cross-cutting used in such a climactic fashion. Rarely had cross-cuts been used for such a bombshell of a situation. Jonathan Demme's brilliant craft of unique intensity in Silence of the Lambs won him an Academy Award for Best Director and launched the film to legendary status. The Silence of the Lambs ranks among the best edited films ever, and its all-too-tense cross-cutting sequence pioneered a new form of editing for modern filmmakers. And among those modern filmmakers is perhaps the greatest cross-cutter cinema has ever seen. A man who has built a career on keeping his audiences on the edge of their seats. A man who has mastered the art of the cross-cut. Yes, my friends, it is Christopher Nolan. There are dozens of examples of cross-cutting in Chris Nolan's filmography. Film by film, Nolan's craft in editing has only improved, and his greatest strength has quickly emerged to be the crosscut. So let's explore the Nolan crosscut and why it's so effective, and what better example than The Dark Knight. Now, of course, I acknowledge the fact that this is not the first example of Nolan's signature cross-cutting. The Prestige hosts one of the greatest examples of the craft there is, but for the purpose of this video, I've decided to move past it since I've already covered the crosscut when used for trickery. Plus, the Prestige's grand example kinda spoils the entire movie. So, having said that, on to The Dark Knight.
Lieutenant, that Joker card pinned to the body, forensics found 3 sets of DNA.
Any matches?
All 3. The DNA belongs to Judge Cirillo, Harvey Dent, and Commissioner Loeb.
Yeah, the judge was telling me so he was targeted. Get a unit over to Cirillo's house. Tell Wirtz to find Dent. Get them both into protective custody. Where's the commissioner?
City Hall.
Seal the building. No one in or out till I get there.
Got it.
With this opening interaction, the 3 situations are established, and already the tension has begun to build. We know who the Joker is targeting, but who's in the most danger? To explore this, Nolan visits each location and establishes the status for each individual. He begins by using the crosscut for its most basic purpose. Judge Cirillo is at her house.
Gordon, what are you up to?
We're secure. I want a floor-by-floor search of the entire building. Sorry, sir, we believe the Joker's made a threat against your life.
Commissioner Loeb is locked in his office with fellow officers keeping close watch on him.
These are dangerous people, Judge.
Yeah, but you're not giving me an awful lot of information.
Even we don't know where you're going. Take the envelope, get in, open it. It'll tell you where you're headed.
You cannot leave me alone with these people.
The whole mob's after you, and you're worried about these guys.
Yeah, compared to this, the mob doesn't scare me.
Harvey Dent is at a crowded fundraiser with friends and colleagues surrounding him and, oh yeah, not to mention Batman. Just as done in Entourage, Nolan immediately injects leverage into the scene, although in this case, leverage in regards to safety. Now Nolan plays with the viewer. He gets in your head, making you wonder how Cirillo and Loeb will be offed. Cirillo is being evacuated and nobody has access to Loeb, but slowly Nolan hints at their impending dooms and how those dooms will come. As it becomes clear how Loeb and Cirillo will be killed, the attention shifts to Harvey Dent. Now the audience begins to worry about the safety of Harvey with or without Batman.
It's a pretty big commitment.
Well, not if the mob has their way.
You got to explain to my wife why I'm late for dinner, Lieutenant.
Sir, the Joker card had traces of your DNA on it.
Don't do that.
All right. Let's be serious then.
Okay.
What's your answer?
I don't have an answer.
How'd they get my DNA?
Somebody with access to your office or your house must have lifted tissue or glass. Wait!
Well, there's no answers, no.
Harvey.
It's someone else's.
We see someone approach from behind as Wayne is brought up. The audience panics, but then realizes it's Wayne himself. Then we cut away to the ends of the other two. And finally, if we haven't been shocked enough by the villain's major success, the grand finale of an already terrific sequence. The reveal of Harvey's planned demise.
You've come for it.
We made it.
Nolan's use of the crosscut enhances the sequence by using the tension of each scene to keep the audience's eyes glued to the screen for the next. He builds vertically, one scene sitting atop the next, until the tension of each is unbearable. His establishment of leverage plays with the audience as we try to put the presented puzzle pieces together. In other words, Nolan wants us to investigate the situations as Batman himself would do. Nolan immerses us in the movie and incorporates us in the emotion of the scene, further creating investment in the characters that remain by the end of it, and legitimizing our antagonist as the ultimate foe for Batman. As I previously mentioned, Christopher Nolan has become a master of the crosscut. Inception and Interstellar are stacked with examples of crosscutting, with the former creating one of the most beloved action sequences ever in the process. The crosscut has become his trademark, and there is no doubt that he is the best at it. This trademark has lifted him throughout his career to blockbuster status and continues to elevate his craft as he expands his artistic reach. Slight spoilers for Dunkirk ahead. Dunkirk is structured as one large crosscut. Nolan opens the film by establishing the three perspectives, the mole, the sea, and the air, and along with this, he establishes the danger that comes with each setting, the basics. Then, instead of using our investment in the characters to build tension, Nolan brilliantly reverses the formula. He builds tension to invest us in the characters. Similar to his previous works, Nolan immerses us in the moment. You do not feel like a viewer of this film when you watch it, you feel like a character in it. Nolan overwhelms you with intensity through his use of the cross-cutting technique, and this increasing intensity allows you to understand the horror these soldiers felt at Dunkirk, and that makes it a true war film. Nolan understands his greatest strengths, and Dunkirk plays to them all. It plays with time by utilizing a non-linear structure, and it dons some of the greatest crosscuts ever put to film. Dunkirk is a magnum opus for Christopher Nolan, and it is a masterpiece in every right. Its application of the cross-cutting technique to the war film enhances the genre like no other war film has done before, and as a result, Dunkirk might not just be Nolan's best film, but it might be one of the best war films ever crafted. And Nolan has one simple editing technique to thank for that.